Welcome to the Musicians Creating Prosperity podcast. I'm Dr. Fabiana Claure. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about the most important thing you need to think about before you release your next creative project, whether it's an album, whether it's a book, whether it's planning on going on tour. The most important thing you need is a back-end business. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Musicians Creating Prosperity podcast. I'm Dr. Fabiana Claure, and I am super excited to talk to you today because in this episode, I'm going to share one of the most important truths that I really want to shout out through every single platform if I could, which is stop releasing creative projects without a back-end business strategy. If you are a musician or creative and you have been creating projects such as albums, single releases, books, videos on YouTube, or you are even planning on going on tour, gigging, the most important way that you'll be able to generate true financial freedom is through not only those initial projects, but most importantly, by building a back-end business strategy, a way for people to be able to work with you behind the initial creative project they encountered. What does that mean? When you have an online program, which is what we love talking about in this entire podcast, the benefits of monetizing your knowledge in a way where people can access those on their own time and not have to be only in front of you in order to get the benefits. When you have this type of online model where you can download your expertise, package it, build more of a passive income framework, then anytime you perform, anytime you release an album, anytime you release a book, that is the first starter of the conversation. It's the building of the relationship moment, but it is not the end. It is not the final transaction. Because what happens is if you have a way for people to say, you know, I loved your album, I loved your book, I loved watching this video on YouTube, and then to be able to say, awesome, if you liked this, here's where you can do more. Here's where you can learn more. Here's where we can start a relationship, how you can subscribe to my email list. Maybe I can give you a free resource to download. And you can start a dialogue now with this new prospect, right? This new person that came into your world. You can start building a relationship. It is not a one and done. Oh, you came to my concert. I hope you liked the recital. Great. Like, that's it. I'm never going to come back to your city. I don't see you again. Or, oh, you bought my book. I hope you enjoyed it. There you go, right? Or I'm going on tour. Okay, great. People see you once in a while, but then that's it. No, now you can say, here's how you can join my online community. Here's how you can be part of a conversation that will continue building the relationship and going into more depth into whatever it is that you're into, right? So, for example, if you are an artist and you promote wellness and peace and happiness through your art, through your music, through your projects, well, maybe you can have an online program that helps people discover that more deeply within themselves and find ways to blend their creativity with their values of wellness and peace and whatever else is important for you. So then if you go and you play a concert or you release an album or you release a book, people are coming into you because of those values. They are interested in the topic that you're teaching or that you're presenting about, but then they can actually work with you through an online program that could allow them to meet with you on a weekly basis. Maybe you can have a weekly masterclass. Maybe you can have a platform where people can send you questions. You can answer them on your own time. Maybe you can have over time a gradual archive of your knowledge, like a little mini library, if you will, where people can see you in a concert, but then they can go and they can be a part of your online community. They can log in, they can start watching some of your videos. Again, you don't need to build all the videos ahead of time. You don't need to create all the content ahead of time necessarily. You can absolutely build this as you go with the people that come into your world. But the most important thing is you don't have to only think of releasing a book, releasing a CD, releasing an album, and that's the end of the project. No, that's the beginning of the project. So when you're thinking about your normal work as an artist and you're building your next passion project and you're so excited and you're getting ready and you're putting hours and hours and hours of preparation to deliver that piece of art, which is important. Yes, you wanted to achieve a certain level of excellence. I know when I released my first album in 2013, I had no plan behind that. I truly was so happy with just recording the music, preparing just the whole repertoire structure, designing what piece I wanted to record first, what was going to be the order of the CD, what was the energy dynamic that I wanted the listener to go through, listening to the different pieces from a Baroque piece to a classical piece, et cetera, transitioning into ultimately finishing up with Cuban music and all the cool stuff that I added on my debut album. I was so immersed in the creativity of it, right? And of course, practicing to play. Obviously, I had to play all that music. I did not envision what was going to happen after people downloaded my album. I truly did not. So I actually went out of my way. I invested in the production of the album, right? And the release of the album, but it pretty much ended there. And I was super happy about it. And I love bringing this to life. And it's there. If you ever want to check it out, you can go to my website. You can see my album is there. You can listen to it. Hopefully you like it. But when I released it, there was no game plan beyond that. And I see this happen to so many musicians who put so much effort into creating their projects, releasing their art, and then that's it. That's as far as they go. And so I don't want that to happen as you are here in this podcast and you're in my world. Hopefully you're now being able to become more savvy and entrepreneurial and strategic in how you put your time and effort in your business. And you don't just get carried away by the creativity of your projects, but instead you ask yourself, what is the end goal of this art? What do I want people to do? How do I want them to feel? What do I want them to believe? And what is that clear end goal? And then you reverse engineer from there. So now, how do you go about doing that? Well, this is exactly why you want to make sure that everything you create is solidified in a clear message. It is united by a single branding purpose. And you're not just creating isolated projects that are not in congruence with who you are online, with who you are as an artist, even if you don't have an online presence yet. Ideally, any project that you create artistically is still in alignment with what you want people to know about you, with what you want people to associate you, with that authority figure that you're trying to establish yourself as. You're wanting to build a presence. You're wanting to hopefully create a movement, a voice, a message. You want to expand your legacy and build a solution and a change that can help other people. Well, ideally, any creative project you release should be in alignment with that mission. It should be something that gets people a taste of what you stand for. It gives people a taste of who you are, of what you believe in, and then in a way lets them know that there's more. Right? There's more where that came from, and that they can actually continue the conversation by signing up for your email list or joining your community. Maybe you have a free Facebook group where people can join and continue a conversation where you add value on a regular basis. Whatever that looks like, hopefully through listening to this episode, you're going to make sure you have a game plan for after people encounter your creative project. So be proactive when you release your next album, your book, your video on YouTube. Make sure there's a clear call to action. It goes by CTA in the online world. Make sure that you have a place to send people to where they can be excited, they can be wowed by your gifts, by your expertise, by your talent. They can develop that bond, and then they know that there's more where that came from. They know that there's a way that they can interact with you. Imagine if every time you downloaded an album or a musical track, or you read a book and it just changed your life, or you attended a concert, a performance with an artist, and you knew that that artist, that creator had a community, had a way of continuing the relationship with you, had a way to offer even more value on top of what you experienced in the first place. Wouldn't you just dive into the opportunity? Wouldn't you be like so excited to be able to say, oh my goodness, I can keep working with this person. There's more. Like, chances are you would. For so many of you right now, you don't realize you have incredible opportunities just sitting around in your backyard because you're not communicating that to people. You're just focusing on the first part of the process, the creative project, and you're just letting everything else just kind of sit there. This episode will hopefully give you some practical strategies to making sure that this doesn't continue happening. Find a back-end business plan. Think about what you would want people to do after they encounter your artistic project, after they watch you perform. Ideally, as I said, the best thing is not saying, hey, if you want to work with me, here's how you can go book a one-on-one. That's one way, but it's not the most leveraged way, right? The way I would encourage you to envision is a more scalable model, a model where you can work in groups, you can create a message, you can over time build content that people can come and access to on their own time. And you're not just limiting yourself to trading your time for money. So be careful. And again, if any of this feels a bit overwhelming for you, book a call with me. There's a link below in the notes where you can always connect with me or my team. And we'd be happy to kind of look at what are your creative projects? What are you working on right now? And give you some pointers, give you some strategies so that you make sure you're not just putting all this time and effort on your artistic projects with no back-end business behind it. I think this is going to be a really important episode for everyone who is creative, whether you're a musician or you have any other artistic inclination. From my firsthand experience, I know what it's like to release an album. I know what it's like to go on tour, to give concerts, to do all of that. I've done it all my life. And I also know that I have made very, very little money from all of those projects because I was missing this. Once I discovered this strategy of building a backend business, now everything I do creatively, artistically, now not only does it have a passion, meaning a fulfillment from a creative side, but it also fuels into my business. It actually helps build and establish my brand, my credibility, create more loyalty, more connection with our community, and of course, gain clients. Think about what this could look like for you. Be strategic. Again, there's nothing wrong with being passionate in your art, but I'm here to help open your eyes in the amount of abundance and prosperity that is awaiting in your next strategic step, as long as you focus on building that back end business behind your artistic project. I hope this helps. Let me know your takeaways and get savvy, okay? And again, if you need anything, if you have any questions, just reach back out to us. We would be happy to connect and help you map out what your back-end business could look like specifically. We have done this for so many musicians around the world, and it's really incredible how once you make that decision of not wanting to settle for just living based on the gigging income or the album downloads, or somehow hoping that it gets streamed income or any of that doesn't make any money, and instead you're smart and you build your own business behind your artistic project, then you will have no limit to how far you can go. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Until next time, let's prosper together.